It's always the hats that are always crooked. Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily right here, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio as the phones are just going off already. This is, come on, Chris, let's get a little professional.
Bro,
here,
I broke
bro.
my phone this weekend.
Let's get a little professional.
And I don't know how to turn it silent.
Oh, well, that could be a problem. But we are coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Matawan. It is Sturch. It is Gooch. We got another packed house here. The Pick Bish is in the house as the, I don't even know, assistant producer at this point. We'll get you caught up to speed. And, of course, Amber, our new social media PR / everything else in the world. She's here, too, as well. As we are coming off another great weekend. Gooch, loosely, how was your weekend as a whole? Scale it 1 to 10, 10 being really great.
Money-wise, I made money betting.
Made money.
So I had a good weekend in that regard.
That's what it's all
Sports
about.
weekend, the Packers won. I'm happy. But as far as life goes, obviously, Dave, you know I had a shitty weekend.
Nice little weekend for you.
Under the weather.
Under the weather. Okay. Yeah. And it's not COVID, I promise. But yes, we are here again. My weekend, again, I had a nice little weekend with the kids and relaxed on Saturday, got ridiculously stupid, unnecessarily drunk on Saturday night to watch UFC, which we'll get into. But I do want to explain to you guys that we got something new going on that I definitely think you guys will all be interested in. It is a new partnership with a company, Super Draft Pro. Super Draft Pro is associated with Caesars right now. They are actually the official fantasy sports gambling, sports gaming, whatever you can call it. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept. Obviously, it's daily fantasy. We've all played daily fantasy from time to time, especially when maybe this week your team got eliminated from the playoffs and you can't, you're never going to play season-long fantasy again. Well, this time it gives you a chance to do a great daily fantasy thing. It's free to play. Now, here's the thing. This is where it's all a little different. It's hard to explain. Again, there are videos out there. You'll get a commercial break today. You'll get a little bit more explanation. But it is a subscription service. Okay, so what you do is you pay $19.99. This is the basic thing: $19.99 a month, and you get unlimited games and you can win money. So technically, what would you say if you went in there, Gooch, every weekend? I know you don't play daily fantasy, but if you were to, wouldn't you say you would drop $5-10 a weekend at
Honestly,
the least?
me?
Yes, probably even more.
The reason why I don't play daily fantasy is because I drop way too much when I do. It's definitely like 30, 40.
Now imagine being able to pay $19.99 a month and then now you can just run away and go win some money.
That would be ideal. The only thing that I would like to know about, and I'm sure this is going to be the same question everybody else has, is what are the prizes like? The
prizes are literally, somebody won $30,000 last week. So they have money. The investment from Mr. Wang, who, by the way, he's the owner of this. And what happened was he actually sold and created the keyboard that solves carpal tunnel. He invented it, sold his business. Now he's a trillionaire, and now he's like, what else do I want to do with my fun money? I want to go and invest in a fantasy football sports or fantasy sports in general.
I actually have the fix for carpal tunnel, and it's just don't type like a normal person and type like a caveman.
There you go.
One finger at a time, and I'm good.
To this day, my dad
carpal
just
tunnel, and I'm on this
striking
thing 24/7.
Striking keys. So anyway, yes, superdraft.com/chop sports to get signed up. Go do that, and here's the kicker. And it's gonna sound pyramid ski. But it's not. This isn't like Beachbody, or this isn't like you got to buy $80,000 worth of shakes and good luck selling them all. This is literally you sign up, it's free, and if you get people to sign up under you make money.
Is that a Orange is the New Black reference right there?
I've never watched that show a day in my life. All right. Is it any good? I heard it's great.
It's a really good show, especially like as far as like it's obviously female oriented, but it's a really good show. I can promise you that.
Yeah. But actually, you know what I started watching this past weekend? Mayor of Easttown? Mayor of something? Kingstown? Mayor of Kingstown. Paramount Plus. Jeremy Renner. Big fan of Jeremy Renner. So I started watching that. I'm 2 episodes deep. That show is actually badass. But yeah, so again, superdraft.com. superdraftpro.com/chop sports. Go sign up if you are the guys that like to play daily fantasy. I'm talking to the James Rubes of the world who post screenshots of their $25,000 victories. Go try this one on for size because you can't put in multiple lineups. So I know that's a scheme of what people have done where you could put in like 15 different, if it's a $2 game, why not spend $100 and put 50 lineups in?
I'm going to look into it because I'm curious to know. Yes. Because obviously I know people are going to be asking me about it, and I think that I'll be able to peel back a few more layers and get
Yeah,
to the
no,
bottom
it's
exactly what the prizes are like, because that's my main concern. Is like I want to be able to play for like $50 maybe. $70. I want to see. I'm sure they have a ton.
They got
the
games are ridiculous, and again, it's all sports. So this is something I'm actually going to talk to all of our fellow podcasters on the Chop Sports Podcast Network. Which, by the way, thank you again for the 50,000 plus downloads. But even more so now, YouTube has kicked into full gear. We want to thank, obviously, Kyle Kerms for coming on. He's got himself a cult-like following on the Sauce Network, and we want to thank him for giving us the rub, because there's a lot of new people, a lot of new eyes.
And Mr. Data himself with the toast. Because honestly, man, when I listen back to the episode, and I'm not taking anything away from the three of us, meaning me, you, or Kyle, but my favorite parts were when he was speaking. He was like, I got a story to tell about this too. And then he did explain to me after the podcast was over, he was like, now I could flip it and make it look like I like something else. So he's like, I don't like when I say that a lot, but people seem to take to it. So
I felt like we had our own like Mel Kiper, like me and you would give analysis, right? And you're like, Todd, you know.
Whereas like he'll give you a story about like the last 60 scenarios that took place with these different setups, I guess you could say.
Right.
And you could kind of play both sides of that, which I did, because he gave the scenario about the Bears beating the Packers, which clearly didn't happen. And I said, well, you're not factoring in the 21-5 scenario. Typically he was like, well, what's it against the spread? I don't know, but it's 22-5 now. I can tell you that much.
Well, it was funny. They gave a deep analysis of the Bears and the under and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, it's still Aaron Rodgers, so that's where I'm going to ride with this one. And I did.
But they did have a good Sunday again. The sauce came through.
Yes, the sauce came through. I won a lot of money on Sunday. We followed the pick bish. I followed some of her picks. Bro, Dina, you hit 14 picks on Saturday, including a plus 786 parlay. Like, the pick bish is on fire. You can find her picks on Twitter at pickbish.
Yeah,
or on
she's on Kyle. She's on
Kyle
the VIP ticket.
Kyle's got a force over there. I mean, between her and you got the toast, and you got some guy doing NHL, and you got somebody else. Like, they have it all over there. KyleKerms.com for all your picks and money. Now, listen, there is no guarantee. Okay, so let's pump the brakes there. You're not going to become rich because you decided to pay $30 a month for KyleKerms.com. However, I'm swimming in it right now because of Kyle.
I faded the sauce yesterday on the Ravens, and
you can't do
on
that,
the Ravens and Browns over. He took the over, and I was just on the under all week.
I mean, they did lose Lamar.
Bro, I had three bad beats in that game alone, which we'll talk about. But.
Yeah. And speaking of those guys, they mentioned that the Army-Navy game would be under for the 14th straight year.
I think it was 15th.
15th straight year. The way that game started.
16 straight unders now.
Okay, so the way that game started, and of course, it's the standalone game of the afternoon, so you're going to watch it. My boy Kevin's over there. He's tailgating. He's an Army 82nd Airborne. You know, thank you, of course, Kevin, for your service. I was a bitch made when he left for basic training. I was, you only don't go, you know, like who does that? But anyway, shout out to Kevin. He is a Woodbridge cop right now. But anyway, he went to the game.
Why is that so funny to me?
That I cried because he left.
And then like that, you just called yourself out and was like, who does
first
that?
First of all, I was 17 years old. So
I'm talking about more so now that you just this sequence right here is what I'm finding funny.
Well, listen, I'm very authentic. But anyway, so yes, they hit another under. But this time Navy gets it done. Like it's gotta burn. Those people, the Army fans, like, and this is a question I'm going to bring to you. I brought it to my dad because, and I don't think he gave me an answer, but I think it's true. Army, Navy, right? The football players, the football team, they're enlisted in the Army and the Navy, right?
Yes, but I think what it is they're in school to be officers. So they do have to go serve after. Unless there's a draft scenario where you might be able to apply.
Are they fighting for the country? Army?
Yes,
or no, you know what I mean?
But it's different. They're not like going into they do have to go into basic training, but these are guys that actually look like they want to make a career out of the military more so than so they become officers almost right away.
Okay.
Now I could be wrong on a lot of this, so maybe somebody that has been in the military could chime in, but I do think that they're the guys that maybe some of the Marines in boot camp will kind of talk shit about, even though they're a little bit more of a higher echelon, if that makes sense.
The
Marines, you could enter whatever, I think. I don't think, especially if you go to Navy. I think you could become
what I'm saying is there's no Marines football team.
Yeah, but the Navy and the Marines are very loose, very kind of interchangeable with a lot of that. A lot of Navy SEALs are ex-Marines and things like that. So.
Okay. I get that part, but I just didn't know if, like, after the game on Saturday, they got to go to Afghanistan or something. You know what I mean?
No, it's not like that. They're still they're at school.
I feel very uneducated with this, but it's like, whatever.
I'm not. You're asking me as if I know for a fact. I don't. This is a loose answer that could be debunked easily right now.
Just full disclosure for us after this, by the way. Like, what the frick did you just say?
I'm one of those guys that doesn't know everything about anything, but I know a little bit about everything. So
wow.
It's like
that should be. And you want to talk about a quote? Remember, Amber, we were talking about quotes. That's it right there. That is your Tuesday quote. When we launch a quote of
I don't know everything about anything, but I know a little bit about everything. There's your quote.
There's your quote. Busta Rhymes. Anyway, so UFC actually went down. If you want a full recap of the UFC, there will be a Chopheads MMA podcast once again, or Chopheads Combat Sports podcast, because once again, we're going to start diving into the world of professional wrestling. Thank you very much. So that'll happen eventually, but Tommy D and Chris will sit down and break down the entire UFC. I did win some bets. Again, it's a blur to me because Tito's vodka, what a world. But I will say, not great at anything, good at everything. Chris. All right. Well, Scoop's chiming in and he's trying to twist your words, I think, already. But anyway, that UFC card, it was a complete banger. Big time upset happened. Amanda Nunes finally loses. She is human after all. Chris, your thoughts real quick of the quick tap, bro.
Honestly,
I felt like that gave me the rub that it's like, okay, you did not have to tap out that quick. And it didn't even look like she was like in a bad situation. It just came.
Well, she was definitely in a really bad situation because I think that left hand really put her in a different place. When you get hit like that, she didn't go down, but some people get knocked out and they're kind of still going through the motions because they have, I wouldn't say it's like muscle memory, but at the same time, it's probably muscle memory. I think that she made a business decision in there and realized, first of all, she might have something going on in facial, like a significant injury, because that left hand was stiff and you don't always see it right away, but there could be a break. And she might just been like, look, this hurts. Like she was in pain, but she made a business decision. She was not getting choked out yet, but she was about to be getting choked out, I thought. And she tapped without being choked out. So I don't think it's a fix, but I hate getting in the head of a fighter. She's obviously proven her worth in the UFC. She's the greatest female fighter of all time. And honestly, Julia, this is what happens when you're at the top for as long as she is. Juliana Pena has been talking about this fight since 2013. So she's been training with the idea that this is who she's got to beat.
That in 8 years, you're going to go toe-to-toe with the lioness.
And there's a sense of Juliana Pena feeling disrespected where every time someone mentioned Nunes, there was never a mention of Pena. There's no one that'll ever beat her. And she's been there the whole time. She's been in the top 5 this whole time, never got an opportunity. And she thought it was because Nunes was ducking her. Looking at the fight, maybe Nunes saw something about Pena that nobody else saw. They're calling it the biggest upset in MMA history. I didn't go in and say, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but I did say I thought Nunes lacks that killer instinct going forward. I don't know if it's motherhood. Dina, you brought that up. Was it you or was it Tommy? It was you. So somebody brought it up. It happened to be Dina. And she doesn't have that killer instinct anymore. Juliana Pena's hungry. She got the belt now. It does suck because we're missing out on the Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes matchup. You saw Kayla Harrison ringside basically looked like she just lost a bet because essentially she did. She lost a big payday because that would have been the biggest fight in women's MMA history.
Scoopaloop coming in saying the rematch has Nunes at minus 250 already. So like a rematch meaning she's going to grab her belt. And then, of course, we have ourselves a bot. We have ourselves a bot, by the way. Sandra Adams with her tech. I don't know. It's just funny to me. Yeah, there's the bot. Yeah, the bot. Remember her from last week? She's back. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, Scoop coming in, Vot's back. But yeah, UFC comes and goes. Go check out Chopheads Combat Sports podcast this week for Gooch and Tommy D. Tommy D was actually chiming in as well from Indiana. The choke wasn't even sunk in, and with her chin, Nunes just had nothing left. He said that she was completely gassed out. So it is what it is. We didn't lose that fight with Harrison, different weight class. So he's thinking that could still happen.
All right, fair enough. That's a good point, Tommy. Nobody cares about you.
Thanks, Tommy. Really good. Appreciate you. But anyway, to the meat and potatoes of this episode on Mondays. You know what? You know what's something? Do you have a different feel in the air right now? It's a little positive energy. There's no negative energy. You know who's not here? Jimmy Palumbo is not here in studio today. He will be recording the Jimmy Palumbo Show live later on this afternoon. He's on a flight after doing his Medea Steele's Christmas movie or whatever the hell he's got, Tyler Perry, something. I don't know. Whatever the case, shout out to Jimmy for a massive likes count, I guess. There's a lot of attention drawn to him being back on set, a movie set. So it's actually pretty cool. We're proud of you, Jimmy. Get your ass back here and do your podcast. But there was football to be played, and football actually went down last night. We'll start with the Sunday night game. Clearly, the Packers take care of business. Now, after a weird start, bro, this game got weird real quick. You got guys returning kicks. You got the Packers special teams unit who obviously didn't show up at all for a little while.
If you've listened to any of the Packers Pulse podcast episodes, you hear me talking shit about their special teams. It's been our bugaboo all year, and obviously we were able to overcome it. But God, man, you can't be doing these things, especially against better teams. We lost the Chiefs game, I think, because of a special teams blunder. Now, obviously, the Aaron Rodgers situation didn't help, but all that aside, a fumbled punt. We lose that game because of a fumbled punt, and the Chiefs capitalize on it. All season long, if you look back at the Minnesota game, same thing, missed field goals. Special teams has killed us so far this year, but Justin Fields sucks, bro.
I mean, it looks like he's having a hard time. As far as the functionality of being an NFL quarterback, he's got wheels. He can make plays with his legs, but boy, oh boy, he struggled. He struggled a lot, and he struggled early-ish. I mean, again, it was so funny because I was in and out of consciousness. I was very tired last night after the emotional Cowboys game, which should have never been emotional at all. But after that game, I was tired. So obviously Sunday night, I'm starting to fall asleep. I watched the first half because I'm doing my Jersey Boys podcast while that's happening. So I'm up and I'm awake. I'm doing my thing. And then I get downstairs onto the couch and I'm like, all right, they'll get this. And then I saw halftime, the score. I was like, all right, maybe this is going to be a game. And then lo and behold, you get one bomb to Adams. And it's just, you felt like no matter what else happens, Rodgers is going to go out there, kind of do his thing. Yeah,
the Bears came out.
Own the Bears again.
The Bears came out. I guess there was a little more emotion attached because of the comments that Rodgers made. But really, Rodgers didn't make comments to the media. He said that in the heat of the moment, in a game situation, and the hot mic happened to pick it up. Then he kind of didn't back off his comments. But what would you expect the guy to do at that point? He's not going to sit here and say, oh, I regret saying that. No. So the Bears came out a little more fired up than usual. And Hakeem Grant, bro, that guy runs like 40 miles an hour. Unbelievable.
It was the meme from Superbad. He's the fastest kid alive.
Yeah. The Packers defense held up well in the second half. They did give up 30 points to the Bears, but 27 of that was basically in the second quarter. It was all bad in one quarter, and then the special teams errors obviously didn't help. But every time the Bears did something, the Packers kind of just kept themselves in the game. They themselves scored 21 in the second quarter. So it wasn't like the Packers put themselves in harm's way. Other than special teams, we did well the entire game. The defense played great. Turnovers, pick six. Rasul baby. Man.
I had the wrong guy, I think. When I told you he was Cheeks in Philly, I don't think he played there.
I looked. I was like,
he's a Raider. He's a Cardinal. Yeah. I had the wrong guy. I was thinking of the wrong guy. But Kyle coming in here. Kyle Kerms. The refs gave Green Bay a gift by taking away that muff punt.
Let's not talk about the amount of gifts that were given in the first half, Kyle. And let's not talk about the refs right now.
NFL rule. Listen, NFL rules. You can't score on a muff punt. That's it. That's a rule. So that's dead. So you don't have that's an NFL rule. You cannot score.
No. I know what he's talking about. The guy ran out of bounds first, and then. So it wasn't a muffed punt situation. They had to kick the ball again. So Amari Rodgers fumbled the punt. Mm-hmm. And then what happened was a guy ran out of bounds on purpose without.
Can't do that. You got to reestablish immediately.
They called a penalty and it's a re-kick. I agree. That's a shitty way to lose a turnover, but there was a lot of things in the first half. And I'm one that I choose to not talk about the refs because I feel it goes both ways. At the end of the year, it typically evens out, right?
Right.
One way or another, the Packers in history, I think, have gotten the shit end of the stick from the refs more so than they haven't.
2014 catch, stop.
Oh, stop, bro. I could name 5 losses, straight up losses, and we were still going to win that game.
Will you stop? You can't make a bold thing like that. We were still going to go out there and win.
Like the refs actually got it right in that game. Blame the league. You understand that, right?
I didn't blame the Packers.
So the refs didn't get it wrong. I'm talking about the refs getting it wrong. They got it right in that game. The league make the rules changed if you want to have the refs be wrong in that situation.
Bears fan Silverberg, our resident Bears fan. Montgomery averaged 4 yards last night. Yeah, Nagy gave him the ball 10 times.
Bro, Nagy had the nerve at halftime to be like, I'm having fun out here. It's like, wait, what, bro? You're a fucking NFL head coach. It's not supposed to be fun when you're coaching in the middle of a game. It's supposed to be all intensity. And honestly, he didn't look like he was having fun at all. I don't think I've seen that guy smile once.
And Kyle, just so you know, he says, Kyle's coming in. He was clearly forced out. Yes, that's fine, but you have to reestablish
Kyle, you could
right
cling
away.
to that all you want, but I could name about 5 plays in the first half with Devontae Adams incled in them where he was getting mugged down the field and they weren't calling him. We could sit here and talk about it all day long about the penalties that were or they weren't. At the end of the day, the Bears, you picked the Bears. They got their shit stomped last night. They really did.
It was
take the special teams away. Take the 97-yard punt return away. All that bullshit. Because that's anomalies.
I do want to say, I do want to shout out Jamie because I did text him when the Bears were up with like an eye emoji, like don't look now. And he said, you just like at that moment, he's like, you just mushed it. Like that's,
but yeah, once he said that, the game was over. It's like Nagy having fun. It's like, no, bro, the Packers didn't have fun. They went in there and they made their adjustments and they came out in the second half and showed it.
Yep. All right. So the Packers moved to 10-3. They're now simply big time Rams fans tonight. We'll talk about that game later, but they have a chance to move back into the 1 seed if the Rams take out the Cardinals. We'll get into that later.
And also, I do want to add this, that we could talk all day about Kyle's talking about the cover. Even if the Bears get the ball in the situation that he's talking about, they only would have covered. They weren't going to win the game regardless. They were still down 2 scores or 3 scores at that point.
You know, it's all about that.
Yeah.
Come on. He's in that line of work, ladies and gentlemen. All right, on to better and more positive things. The Dallas Cowboys get themselves a win, 27-20. They beat the Washington football team. And good thing for Kyle is that he does not have to wear that dress that he tweeted out, which I was like, are you kidding
missed extra point away. Dude, I rode with Kyle on this. I faded my own pick because he was so confident. But there was a little part of me where I was like, well, at least
he must have,
there's a consolation here.
Somewhere along the line, I think Kyle lost his I'm not going to say fanhood, but like he watches every game and now, analyzes every game, but he lost the ability to know who the Dallas Cowboys are. And when the Dallas Cowboys were up as big as they were yesterday, which was to me, I put my feet up. I got myself a slice of pizza. Like it was like, I was just, I'm fine. This is great. We just starched the Redskins.
I literally put a green
football
check mark next to the
right. I was like, this game's a wrap, right? Like, you need to know who this team is, and this is a team that will be the cardiac Cowboys until the day I die. There will never be something that we can just ride off into the sunset. The Falcons game was different, okay? The Falcons game was different, and because that was from start to finish, we just dominated. Yesterday, the Washington football team came in there, winners of 4 straight. They got they blew up that McCarthy, we're going to win thing so bad. It's like, what are head coaches supposed to say? Like, hey, coach, do you think you're going to win the game? Nah. Like, what do you mean no? Yes, we're going to win the game. So then that's the guarantee. Oh, we lived up to that. We guaranteed it and got it done. But the Washington football team, Rivera's like, he shouldn't have done that. Like what?
I agree with both sides of it.
Correct.
Coach Rivera has no choice but to take that approach because his players are probably thinking the same thing. They're looking to find something to cling to.
And he did it late in the week, too. There's a timing thing to this. Like, he did it on, like, Thursday as opposed to last Monday when they get back to practice, like, the Cowboys are going to win. We're going to win this game. Like, no, you waited to see how practice went all week, and you felt it in the air that the Cowboys would play well.
Body Bascone dropping in some.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Dak was on fire. Okay.
Venom for days.
Yeah, no, here's the venom. And truth be told, like, people out there think that I'm just an apologist for every member of the Cowboys who ever played the game. I'm not. Dak Prescott is off. He is not playing good football right now, and that's very scary. However, the quarterback, the offense is not doing well, and the team is 9-4 in first place by 3 games. There's something to be said about that because that defense, I won't deflect too much off of Dak because, look, some of the decisions, the game was close because of a pick 6. Everybody and their mother saw Schultz running wide open, and he still threw it to the linebacker. The linebacker, who was 5 yards in front of him. So it was just, boop, and he just, oh, look at here, and take it to the house. Garbage, right? And that led me to think that, like, we might lose this game after all. Being up for 3.5 quarters. Heineke had, like, 20 yards passing. I
fully expected to lose my bet after that. But the extra point saved me.
The extra point was blocked, and that was a big, big thing for the cover for everybody who bet the Cowboys. But I won't deflect too much off of Dak. He's got to write it all. And there was something that I said today on the Facebook, the Chop Sports Facebook group, which, again, if you're not a member, go join up and, we'll accept you and all that other stuff. But there's something to be said about how one guy, I said as a general statement, the Cowboys now have 4 weeks to go to clean all this shit up because then it's playoff time. So I'm assuming that other than an epic collapse of mass proportions in which I think like Gozer the Gozerian from Ghostbusters will come down from the heavens if the Cowboys don't make the playoffs, okay? Because right now they're up 3 games with 4 to go. And the Washington football team have to play the Eagles twice. You know what I mean? So those games haven't happened yet. You know what I mean? So somebody's going to lose an 8th game, and the Cowboys can no longer lose 8 games unless they lose out. I don't foresee that happening. But flip that coin. There's a lot of teams in NFL history that have won the Super Bowl based off of having a good defense. This defense is elite. Micah Parsons should win. And I think right now, what is it? December 13th, mark my words. If he keeps this pace right now, he will win Defensive Player of the Year. The second player to ever do that as a rookie. I don't give a shit. You're going to give me Myles Garrett.
He had a touchdown yesterday, too.
Huh?
Myles Garrett had a touchdown yesterday, too. So it's like hard. It's like when you see, I agree. And I was like looking at it. And then I looked over at what Myles Garrett did. And I was like, oh, it's hard because he's just having one of those years where he's wrecking. And you know, and that's fine. So is Micah Parsons. So that race will be tight as long as both players keep playing the way they are. Now, you also have to take in consideration what the team would be without their guy. If Parsons wasn't in there, the defense around him wouldn't be playing well. Micah Parsons, we made jokes about it early in the year, but we were watching Hard Knocks, and Jimmy was like, oh, Micah Parsons is a Hall of Famer already. Like, no.
He might.
Bro, his comments where he was like, the NFL just doesn't seem hard to me.
He said that today or yesterday.
Yeah.
The NFL doesn't seem hard. Now, look, when you go into the NFL, there's a lot of people who are like, well, the game's faster. You got to react faster. You got to make decisions fast. Parsons has slowed down the entire game.
He's elite.
There was a play last night. There was a play yesterday where obviously there's a strip sack, take him to the house, touchdown, great. The Cowboys are scoring on defense. But there's also a play last night that all of a sudden the throw was to the safety, and Parsons is in the area. Like, this kid is everywhere. Yeah. It's unbelievable and so much fun to watch, and it's very exciting.
He'd probably be such a good running back too.
Oh,
you think about it, he would be the
best.
There
are Cowboy fans on Twitter right now that are calling for an offensive play for this kid. Somehow, some way, let's get it done. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, you better goddamn not. Like, don't you dare ruin this kid's mojo by putting him on offense as a fullback for no reason whatsoever. But the Cowboys get it done. They're 9-4. I won't harp on them too much because it's just, there's a Cowboys podcast within this network. If you want to listen to that, it is All About the Star. It is my podcast. Go check that out. I will recap this game a little more full than we are here right here. But the Cowboys get it done. The Washington football team, what's that do for them? They're in a mix of about, I think, 5 teams that are 6-7 right now. So they're still in the mix. They still can get into the playoffs. Tyler Heinicke, it showed yesterday that he's not a starter in the league. He's a starter for the Washington football team. I think I was telling my brother this, that if you cut him, nobody's signing him.
Bro, no, he'll get signed, but not as a
starter. As a starter?
No. He's Minshew. He's that. He definitely earned himself an NFL job. 100%. You got guys like who's the guy that threw 11 picks in 1 quarter for the Bills? He's on the Peterman.
Peterman, man.
Nate Peterman's still in the league, I'm pretty sure. At least on the practice squad somewhere.
I think Gruden finally parted ways with him before he left.
But he's like he's their reserve quarterback. So I think they have Mariota as their backup. Yes. But he's definitely their 3rd guy in line. How the Packers have Blake Bortles,
Peterman, man,
sitting in their hip pocket.
But yeah, so that he could be a career backup, but just going to show you against a good defense like Dallas, he struggled mightily. I think he had like 26 yards at half. Like it was bad. And shout out to all the Washington football team fans who chanted, "We want Dallas" all week long. No, you effing didn't. You didn't want him anymore. You don't want him anymore. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. And by the way, Trayvon Diggs, locked down Scary Terry. All this Terry. Oh, did you see what happened in the first game?
Hurt.
Huh?
I think McLaurin got hurt.
Yeah, in that one deep ball in which they, congratulated each other on the effort. But in any event, not going to keep going. I'm going to pop up blood vessel at this point. The bad team in New York. Oh, what's that? There's 2 of them now? Yeah, there's 2 of them. We won't get too far into this. The Giants almost had a backdoor cover, but they did not because they stink at the game of football. And in which I'm going to be I probably will go to this game. I was up and down because obviously my brother can't make it this year. He's got himself a fat torn ACL. So he's got and a shout out to the football gods who took his ACL from him on Thanksgiving Day. He's got a nice little longer road ahead of him, but I think he's going to be fine. But anyway, he can't go to the game with me because of obvious reasons. I'm not going to have him walking all over the place. And you know what? Knowing how hard-headed he is, he would go. He would go right now, no crutches, just walk and just go. I might go to this game in which I think, if I'm not mistaken, Gooch, you could correct me if I'm wrong, 80% Cowboy fans, you think? Is that a high number?
I think that's a stretch because there has to be at least some Giants fans with a sack still.
Are there any left? Calling all Giants fans, are you still there?
I would I've been to Yankee games where it was over for them in the season, and the other teams, it was actually a Mets game. I actually got ejected too. Nice. There was a point in the game where I just said, you know what, I'm not standing for this anymore. I just am going to get obnoxious about everything. Mm-hmm. And I didn't fight anybody, but it was just, I felt like very uncomfortable to be in Yankee Stadium and having the other team be the home team. So I was just like, this is so awkward to me. I would expect at least some Giant fans to sack up and do the same, but probably not, because it does cost a lot of money. And when we're talking about selling a ticket, I would love to get Dallas money, essentially, because if you're a Giant season ticket holder, your season's a wrap. You
so basically, a lot of money on nothing. You're gonna crush the pockets of Dallas fans everywhere.
Exactly. And there's no real shame lost, or there's no shame in doing that, I guess you could say.
Correct. No, absolutely. Get your money back. 100%. But this game in particular, another big win by the Chargers.
That's a lot.
What?
80%'s a lot.
I would imagine. To me, I always think it's like 60-40. Why stretch it another 10?
But 60-40 is even a lot. It's never even that much. It's just 60-40 is a lot. If there's 60-40, I'd be impressed.
Jimmy Palumbo, good morning. He says the Stinks posse is in the, I guess the members, the leaders of the Stinks. Is it going to be Jake Fromm? I don't know. Jake from State Farm might start this game. I don't know. Mike Glennon really stinks at football too. So like the Giants are in disarray. And I think the thing is, you gotta part ways. If here's my bold prediction. If the Dallas Cowboys come in, right? Got the fans, the Dallas Cowboys fans will probably be there at the end, right? If they win and they win big, which again, I'm not saying that can happen, because I've seen this Cowboys team bow down to a lesser team plenty of times. But if the Cowboys go into New York or New Jersey or whatever, into Giant Stadium, MetLife, whatever you want to call it, and they starch them and they just destroy the Giants, Joe Judge could be fired. Joe Judge has lost his team. If you listen to the press conferences, he's doing the whole like, oh, yeah, a lot of it falls on me. Oh, no. All of it does. No, because none of you guys are playing for this guy.
He's going to get fired. It's just not going to happen this season. Because at this point,
they've done it already.
Right now, they're on pace for 2 top 5 picks, I think, because the Bears lost again yesterday. There's no reason to change anything. Look, just get through this season. You're not going to bring it. You're going to bring in a guy to win a game and get fired up, rally behind this new head coach. Just let this thing play out.
Yes. Give Freddie Kitchens the reins.
Let's be real too. Daniel Jones is hurt. There's a lot of injuries that have happened.
All right. I'll ask you this. 37-21, they get crushed by the Chargers. If Daniel Jones plays in that game, do the Giants win?
No.
So that's what I'm talking. Like that's what I'm trying to tell you.
I have another question. If Bill Belichick coached that team yesterday with Daniel Jones, do they win?
What?
If Bill Belichick was the Giants coach of yesterday's game, they still wouldn't have won.
I don't know, man. Judge is just
I agree.
The way he just looks like a douche.
I agree. Like, Joe Judge is done. Gettleman's done. The whole thing is going to get flipped on its head in New York. For 100% fact, they got 2 top 5 picks. They're not going to let the same regime have a control over what happens with those 2 picks. It's just not.
Kyle Kerm's coming in with the 8.5 or more. Guess what, Kyle? I believe it's 10 already. I haven't looked, but I believe yesterday we were reporting that it was the spread is 10, and I'll take in that regard, I would take the Giants all day long, because I know for a fact that even if the Cowboys get up now that's the new MO. Cowboys can get up 24-0 and still win 24-21.
And Scoop, you're saying how are all the reports saying Judge is coming back? Well, who the fuck knows if Gettleman's even coming back? So
Gettleman's good as
there's a ton of other things that have to happen first. Joe Judge has got there's no rite of passage for Joe Judge where he's had such a bad 2 seasons. They're just going to give him a third for no reason. Maybe with a new GM, they give him 1 more year, but I just can't see it.
I don't see that at all. The GM gets to pick the coach. GM will clean house. The Giants should clean house. And that includes getting another quarterback. And that includes trying to move Saquon Barkley.
Bryce Mitchell.
Who's Bryce Mitchell?
Heisman.
Oh.
Alabama.
What did you say in the way out?
It was funny. We were like, oh, shit, we didn't talk about the Heisman on Friday. And I was like, whatever. I was like, I had no idea who was actually nominated.
Zero idea.
And maybe Jimmy Palumbo is going to chime in and talk shit that we know nothing about college football, although I will put my knowledge up against his in any sport, any day of the week, except for Rutgers basketball. But I was just like, I have no idea, but I'm sure that there's the kid from Alabama is going to win.
Right.
I had no idea that there was even an Alabama guy nominated.
And guess what, ladies and gentlemen?
Out that he actually did win.
Yes, the Alabama quarterback won Heisman. But yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Kyle Kerm's coming back in. Joe Judge in line to take Urban Meyer's place with the Jags. I read that on Jacksonville Gazette this morning. That's totally Kyle getting under scuba loop. There's a little rivalry going on right now within the chat. Again, thank you guys for joining us on this Monday morning on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, share it, tell your friends. But anyway, moving on. The Giants are just god-awful. Another god-awful team in New York. The Saints decided to beat up on the New York Football Jets. Amber, were you there? Amber was in the building. She's a big Saints fan. Amber, I think it was the other day, it came up in my memories, or did you send it to me? Our draft when we were partners. Remember? You sent it to me. We were fantasy football partners in the Big Shots League, right? And you got to see this lineup. It was like Cam Newton. Like, it was just when Cam was actually good at football.
Oh, man.
Like, I
had such a fucking great time watching Cam yesterday because it was so funny to me. Just watching him, how confident he is when he runs for a 4-yard first down and no one touched him and he trips over his own feet and then throws such bad picks.
We'll get into
celebrating everything.
Oh, he's the worst.
I love when he disappoints himself.
But the Saints come in. They came marching in. All right, no pun. Actually, there's a pun. That's definitely a pun. The Saints came in and beat the crap out of the Jets. Are you feeling any buyer's remorse with Zach Wilson? He just can't seem to get anything going. Is this like rookie, give him a shot, or not the guy?
Put it this way. I don't think Zach Wilson was ready yet. I keep on telling everybody that he looks like he's 9. So buyer's remorse, maybe, because the Jets just don't seem to develop quarterbacks well. But at the same time, he's probably in a position where he shouldn't be playing for that team. They should have a veteran guy. Flacco makes them better, and it doesn't necessarily make him better by playing right now. You know, sometimes it's better to just sit and watch, and maybe it's next year for Zach Wilson or the year after. Look at Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen is struggling a little bit, but he's clearly an NFL quarterback. He's a premier guy. Everyone in the league would want Josh Allen if they could get the chance to have him at this point.
Right.
He wasn't good his first 2 years either, so we'll see. I don't know. I think that it's too early to close the book on the Zach Wilson, but not great so far.
No, Mekhi Becton, obviously, against the Saints defense. Saints defense shut down Dak Prescott, too. You know, just Cowboys are a little bit of a more well-rounded team to get that win when the Jets just don't have
I just like to give the guys a little bit more time than 10 starts in his career. I don't even think he had 10. He missed some time. He's 20 years old. Looks like he's 9.
AJ coming in.
When he's 26, then I'll be like, okay, he sucks.
AJ coming in. He did have 2 of his top 3 options out against the Saints defense, but yes, he's miserable nonetheless. So the Jets fans are under the impression that it might not, I don't know. Like, I like the kid, you know, and he did interview yesterday and he did squeak his voice by accident. Of course, they just ripped him to shreds. They're like, he's 12.
I think Peyton Manning held the record for most picks by a rookie quarterback for like 10 years.
And that record looks to be in jeopardy.
But it all worked out with Peyton Manning. So it's just early on these guys, man.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Gucci has now said that Zach Wilson is the next coming of Peyton Manning, ladies and gentlemen. Take that to the bank.
Well, I'm pretty sure somebody did call him the next coming of Pat Mahomes earlier in the season.
That wasn't me. You're not looking at me. I didn't say that. I said that?
Yes.
I said that.
I won't find it because that would take me way too long. But you definitely said there was like rumble. Maybe not the next, but comparisons.
Maybe like the looks. Like he wears a headband. That's really never did I. What? Adina's gonna go find it. Great. I also said the Chiefs were going to go 17-0 and also run through the playoffs, which, by the way, outside of their losses, they're looking like a 17-0 team right now. We'll get into that in a second. But the Jets stink. They lose again. They dropped to 3-10, in which helping their own draft stock, and they're watching the Seahawks as well. They're going to have 2 top 10 picks in the NFL draft next year, which is in Vegas, by the way. And I'm already starting to think about ways I can get out there for the draft. But yeah, so the Saints again. They get lumped into that 6 and 7 bracket now. I don't foresee them being a contender down the stretch with Taysom Hill. Don't see it. It is what it is.
No, they just lost 5 in a row going into this.
That's what I'm saying. So they're on the wrong side, and they just ran into a really bad Jets team, and that helped them out. So let's take a break. Let's towel off. We got ourselves an entire Week 14 slate to cover when we come back right after a word from Super Draft Pro, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look.
Pro athletes have the dream job. They get paid to play games. The connection to sports and our fandom brings communities together. We see the business of sports as limitless. We all watch it or know someone who does. And now it's time for you to cash in on your sports IQ and get paid to play. These aren't just any kind of games. Play on SuperDraft, the official fantasy partner of Caesars. Compete in exciting fantasy sports and free sports betting contests by subscribing to a plan with SuperDraft Pro. Play for the love of the game and experience the most entertaining way to follow the sports you love. These mobile apps are live right now on iOS and Android. This rare opportunity is a massive game changer. You get to be an early adopter in a multi-billion-dollar global industry. So you're asking, how do I get started? We've made it simple. Sign up to be a coach, then build your team and offer a range of subscription packages to access games to play. So, now that you're aware of Super Draft Pro, can you build a street team of players and coaches who can cash in on playing games, getting others to play games, and playing games with them? Welcome to the future of sports fandom.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, of course, to SuperDraftPro.com. Go check those guys out. They are new partners with Chop Sports. We move on to a very, very good game in which the Buccaneers get an overtime win over the Buffalo Bills. This game was out of control, too, and it looked like it was out of reach early. This was very reminiscent of the Cowboy game. The Bucs started beating up on the Bills. Everybody's like, wow, the Bills are frauds. They're no good, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, here comes Josh Allen, who has over 100 yards rushing. He goes ape shit, and then they bring him all the way back. Ultimately, of course, there's Tom Brady, and, well, the rest is history. I mean, to me, that's just like, it's clockwork at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Brady comes in with time left. It's almost like Rodgers coming in with time left. He's going to get down there, do his thing. They go to overtime. They get the ball. And, of course, it's like a very Tim Tebow-ish kind of play. The ball, there was a short route, and the guy just took it and house called it. So
yeah, that won me a lot of money.
Oh, yeah? You all over this game?
Yeah, I bet the first quarter, first half, team total over and -3.5. I needed a touchdown in overtime, obviously. Otherwise, I would have won by 3 and not covered that part of the bet. But yeah, the Bucs, I cleaned up on the Bucs yesterday.
And the Bucs,
Tom Brady at home is just, you can't not bet it.
Right. And he's lighting up the scoreboard each and every week. Now, what does this say for the Buffalo Bills? This is a disheartening loss. I know it's in the NFC, so it really doesn't hurt their AFC stock so much, but another loss does. This team is 7-6, Gooch. You called it earlier on in the spring or August or whenever the hell we made these season-long predictions that the Bills would regress. This is a massive regression.
Yeah,
the best they can finish is 11-6.
The Bills right now, they were the 7th seed, I believe, going into this week, and now they're still trenched in the 7th spot because of what other teams not being able to capitalize. But right now, bro, yeah, they're just backing themselves into the playoffs if they could even get in. Because you look at the teams like the Browns, they're 7-6 too. Right, there's a bunch of teams on the outside looking in that are 7-6, and even the Steelers I still think are 6-1. Right, so even the Steelers are still right there. There's a bunch of teams that are just nipping at the Bills right now. I think the Colts actually passed them.
Ready for this little tidbit here from Kyle? Week. The Bills are 2-6 against starting quarterbacks this year, and they're 5-0 against backups. This is really starting to show what the Bills are about. Like they're not winning games against teams. Yeah, decent.
And I'm not a big fan of their coach. I do think that he made good adjustments at halftime yesterday. But in the first half of that game, I understand that Tampa Bay stops the run, but they didn't hand the ball off once.
Yeah, what was that about?
They maybe won, but it was a fake punt, so it wasn't a typical.
Yeah, but what was that strategy? Like,
I don't know. I
just see Bill Belichick do it.
It didn't work.
And do the complete opposite.
It didn't work, and they were definitely more committed to the run in the second half. I was very surprised to see, being down what they were, that they suddenly changed the game plan. But that should have been the game plan the whole time. Mm-hmm. Sean McDermott, I don't know, man. It's just something about that guy that I think he's holding that team back.
Yeah. Well, Chris just mentioned the Steelers are in the hunt, but wait, didn't Dave tell us the Steelers are done? I still think the Steelers are done. That's my opinion.
Well,
I'm sticking to it.
But the point is, based on what we saw, and I actually wish that you left that clip going for one, because you chopped that up and made a good point with the are the Steelers done based on what you said? Are they a playoff team?
That was Amber. That was Amber. I gave her the whole thing.
So when you were doing the reel,
it's got to be a minute.
I just wish it would have been like, well, based on what I saw yesterday, they're not a playoff team. But then the next thing I said was, but it really doesn't matter what I say because they have games to play. And if they win their games, then they can be. So they're not done mathematically. They're half a game out.
Not done mathematically.
But they're a half a game out of the playoffs with 4 to go. So he's got to clearly make things happen.
Big Ben better start playing like younger Big Ben, because right now his fourth quarter numbers are great, but starting, you got to get off the hot start.
Can I make a point though?
Sure can.
It's like, okay, the Browns, are they really looking like they're great? The Bills,
just beat up
are they looking like they're great? So the teams that the Pittsburgh Steelers are jockeying with right now for a playoff spot have glaring issues as well. That's all I'm going to say about that. So that's why I say Pittsburgh's not done yet.
Okay, you got it. We'll see. So yeah, that game comes and goes. The Bucks now 10-3. They're sitting there at what? I think the 3 seed right now. They're behind the Packers. Is that how it works? Based off of whatever they're 10-3 and 10-3. Are they behind the Packers? Yes. All right. So Packers, they're the 3rd seed right now, as the Dallas Cowboys are 4th, and of course we await the game tonight. Another big game we just talked about it. The Browns and the Ravens. Now the Ravens covered the spread. Thank you, Ravens. But the bigger story here is Lamar Jackson. Now, how long is Lamar? I mean, the guy had to be carted off the field. Not carted off the field, carted from the sidelines to the locker room. And I don't know if you make a big deal of that because, look, if you have a leg injury, regardless of significance, if you have a cart on the sidelines, just take it. It's like you're playing golf. Like,
I was wondering, did you see the one play on the Devontae bomb where those two dudes?
Are we back on the Packers?
I just want to talk about the cart situation where these two Bears defenders collided and one guy was knocked out cold. Right? They didn't show it because it went right to commercial. But then, like a couple minutes later, they had him being helped back to the locker room, and he couldn't walk. And I'm like, why are you making this guy? It was like a 200-yard walk back to the locker room. There's definitely a cart there. It was bad. So it looked like he got knocked unconscious.
So like you can't take what you saw yesterday as far as Lamar Jackson going to the back on a cart with that much of a like, oh my God, he couldn't walk. Like no matter what, if it's a leg injury, just cart him off anyway. But of course, the networks are going to jump all over that, and that's fine. But this team, without Lamar Jackson, made a run with Lamar Jackson Jace. Like it's the same guy who's his backup.
I'm looking at the point spread. The Packers are giving 6.5 on the road, so it's probably looking like Lamar. They think he's not going to go next week because I can't imagine the Packers giving that many points.
That's a deep dive right there. That's what we provide at Chop Sports. We're giving you the early spread because that's a thing, man. If the Packers go out there and there's no Lamar Jackson, that game is not close to me. It's not. It's not close. I mean, I don't care how good this kid played. He's not. That's the Packers defense coming to town. Like, that's not a good
I don't think
situation.
the Ravens are going to be able to cover us, but
now
you can stop the run.
Now you look at the Browns though. Like now with a win, 7-6, right? They get it done. Myles Garrett, as you mentioned before, scores a touchdown yesterday, right? The Browns they're rocking and rolling on defense. This division, I can't put a finger on who's going to come out of this one. This one's coming down to the wire, and I'm not putting the Steelers in there. I'm not. You
can't put the Bengals did show some fight.
I'm putting a 3-team race right now.
They showed some fight, but
I'm putting the Steelers in the fact that they can win games, but I just got to think at the end of the day, that tie is going to bite them in the ass when it comes to the win column. I know it can work both ways, but this year in particular, I feel like that extra game, that extra tie is going to be detrimental to their win total, and it's not going to allow them to win the division. But again, it's interesting to see if the Browns can actually pull this off.
I don't think the Steelers are anywhere near a division team right now, but they could be the wild card. That's all.
We'll see. But it remains to be seen. Look, the Ravens, I know there's injuries, and now this is the biggest one they've faced. Jack will be the first one to tell us, the resident Raven fan, that they've battled injuries the entire year, and now this is their biggest one. And you talk about a team that's not loaded with playmakers on the outsides. Bateman had himself a nice game because, again, I always feel like the backups, they always kind of gel together because that's your team, that's your squad in practice all week. But Hollywood Brown, one-trick pony. You know what I mean? Mark Andrews had himself a decent game as well, but that's underneath stuff. That's what a backup quarterback needs to succeed in the NFL. He needs somebody underneath. The running game without Lamar Jackson, boy, that's going to be interesting to see down the stretch. So we shall see. Moving on. Another big game. My boy Greg actually came over for this one to watch. I kicked him out at overtime. Do you know that? How much of a good friend am I, by the way? Like the game goes to overtime. I'm like, I got to go podcast. Like I have to go. Like right now it's ready to rock. I got to go upstairs.
Yeah, that's a piece of shit move.
But I mean, I told him he could stay. He could stay.
Oh, then he's a bit even.
I was like, bro, you can stay. He goes, no, it's on the radio. I'll get it home.
You would have to put a gun to my head to get me to leave.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I literally said,
even then I can say, I'd be like, you're not going to actually shoot me, so I'm going to sit here. So you're not going to clean up my brains.
Greg might actually roll with me to the Giants Cowboys game. He does every year. He wears his 49er stuff underneath all his. He rocked a Miles Austin jersey a couple years back. Turned it into an Amari Cooper jersey when Cooper got traded for it. Like he's one of those guys that he'll do it just to go.
Who did the Sauce pick in this game? Not to cut you off.
He picked the 49ers. Because of Fred Warner.
I did fade the Sauce 3 times.
I faded myself. I picked the Bengals on the show, and I bet the 49ers after I got the Sauce VIP ticket, which you can get, KyleKerms.com. Sign up now. Hey, there you go.
I faded the Sauce on the Chargers and the Giants, but I faded him on this, and I faded him on the Ravens under, and I lost big money on the Ravens under because I had it across the board first quarter. So that sucked. But this, man, I was confident all week in this game. Honestly, I was confident that Cincinnati was going to get it done, and they played like shit in the first half. They fought back, but damn, man, I wish I had that one back.
Yeah, 49ers on the road, got it done. Jimmy Garoppolo, a couple bad decisions here and there, but again, no Eli Mitchell. They still had somewhat of a running game. Bro, can we talk about Deebo Samuel?
Yeah.
That dude is an absolute beast. And every time the guy gets the ball, it could be a big play. That's crazy. He's got more rushing yards than receiving yards sometimes in some games. Like he gets the ball to the backfield.
And when we get a fully healthy George Kittle, Because
Bro, did you see that one catch?
An animal.
Catches that one catch with the fingertip. Dude, this 49er team, I'm telling you,
Bro,
they get in. There's going to be
that.
problems.
Watch George Kittle when he doesn't get the ball. Just watch him on every play. That guy is so fun to watch.
His
play
motor.
Football. He's in them. That's why he's always hurt, because he just doesn't stop. But you want that in a football player. I think, I think Kyle made a point. I think that he is the best 10 in football, and I don't think it's close.
Yeah, Kyle.
Kelsey's really good.
George Kittle
soft to me.
Is officially so much better than any other tight end. It's not close.
I would love
He's
to
in a league of his own.
see George Kittle and Travis Kelce fight.
That's not a close fight to me. I think Kittle just beats the piss out of him. I like Kelce, but again, situational. He's playing with Patrick Mahomes. Kittle's doing this with Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is anywhere near Patrick Mahomes' ability. So I think that Kelce gets the rub as far as being the best tight end in football because of who he plays with. That's the same thing I could say about Darren Waller.
I'll put it like this. I feel like everybody hated Kelce growing up. Like everybody in his school hated him, and everybody loved George Kittle. That's just
Kittle's a massive wrestling fan.
It's like
He's
Kittle is like a man's man. Everybody likes him, and Kelce is like, you might like him if you're in his circle, but even then you're like, he sucks in real life, dude. He just looks like a douchebag.
He's a stud though.
No, stop. Catching Kelce. Did you watch that reality show? Once I saw
what?
That there was a reality TV show about dating Travis Kelce, I was like, well, I would.
Dina's calling you for knowing what that show is.
Don't think that I've ever watched reality. The only reality TV I've ever watched is The Ultimate Fighter, and that's a fact. They got the fight after the show. Anything else is fake.
Oh, staged.
Yeah,
it's like pro wrestling.
Catching Kelce, and I know that because my sister's obsessed with reality TV.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How can anybody? It's such bad programming. I watched, what was the other thing I was watching?
Kelce.
There was some other show that I walked in on the other day where it was like a bunch of rich people flipping houses and like selling houses. I'm like, this has nothing to do.
There's a website for that.
Flippingmadeeasy.com. Dude, man, you know what? It was like, and for 3 from way back downtown. But anyway, so that was a good one. Good little plug ski there, bro. But anyway.
Oh, Jason Kelce, he's the cool brother, obviously.
Jason Kelce is a douchebag.
Oh, so then case in point, they're brothers. If one guy's a douchebag and he's like a fat lineman, the tight end that has a reality show.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
So basically, if somebody thinks I'm a douche, that automatically means Danny's a douche.
No.
Same thing for you and Carl.
But my point is, if you put the Kelce brothers next to each other, you'd point at the one guy and be like, he's definitely a douche, and that's Travis, right? The guard. You'll probably be like, oh, the center. He's probably a lovable, chubby, happy guy, but he's also a douche. Oh my God!
He once again just described
the handsome one is definitely chubby, a scumbag.
Like, handsome guy.
Yeah, Kelce.
Moving on to a game that Kels. That's right.
Fuck out of here.
Even just,
bye. Anyway,
Christ Almighty! Like there's a personal vendetta. Like somebody like left you for him or something like that. Once upon a time.
No, right? I did draft him first overall and not first overall, but with the 9th pick, and he's done nothing for me. So it's solidified.
No,
I hated him already. I took it despite my hatred of him, and I'll never do that.
And
again.
You know what the best part is about this now? Now that you said that you just wasted a pick on Travis Kelce as the 9th overall pick. If you go to superdraft.com right now, superdraftpro.com right now /chopsports, you never have to draft Kelce again, ever. You could pick a different tight end like George Kittle.
I could have had Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones instead.
How Wayne's World is this, by the way? Anybody ever see Wayne's World before? Like where they're selling out, like they're like, yeah, when they're like, I can't talk about this anymore. It's giving me a headache. Here, take 2 of these. Yes, hold yellow. It's so good. We've sold out. It's official. But anyway. Moving on to a pointless game to talk about, so we won't talk about it too long. The Seattle Seahawks win again. They beat the Texans 33-13. They cover the number. Good for them. They're now 7-6 against the spread. Nobody cares. The Texans are the worst team in football. Jaguars, hold my beer. We'll get to you in a second. Speaking of the worst team in football, record-wise, the Lions, who I picked, and I said the feel-good mojo is there. It's going to happen. The Lions are going to win a game again, and they got crushed 38-10. The Broncos solidifying themselves in that wild card race.
The Broncos are one of my favorite teams to watch
because of their running game.
It's because of their running football down the stretch. They're the type of team that they could play well at home, on the road, because the things that they do, they don't care what you do well. They're going to commit to what they do. Vic Fangio, he's been hot and cold to me, but I commend him for his commitment to his style. And the Broncos are right now in the thick of it. And that's a TikTok noise. But does anybody know that into the thick of it?
Oh, yes.
I should actually go off myself after that comment. Jesus Christ.
Well, that's what happens though when you're sitting in the same room as Ash, right? And you just hear TikToks all day long.
Yeah,
constantly.
And it's also my nieces and my nephews. They're
all on TikTok now. You know what I discovered over the last week? My father watches TikToks.
Everybody watches TikTok except me.
You see,
but I do watch Reels. I guess that ages. I get made fun of because I watch Reels and not TikTok.
It's the same thing. Is it?
It is and it isn't. Like it is because it is. They're the same exact thing.
They're literally the same thing.
I think when it comes to being called a boomer, and I like, I don't watch TikTok, but I watch Reels. That's like boomer shit.
So cool.
It's like walking around with your flashlight on your phone, not realizing. So it's like you're just walking around.
Your flashlight's on. Then you grab the phone and you do not know how to turn it off.
Also guilty.
Oh my goodness gracious. Anyway, so that game comes and goes. Nobody cares. Another game, I didn't even put the red scores in this one because it was just so bad. The Titans beat up on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The story about this game lies with Urban Meyer. Okay, the wheels have fallen off this team completely. Yes, they are 2-11. Yes, they're the worst team in football next to the Texans. Yes, they actually play each other next week. I want to know the ratings of that game. I would love to see how many people actually tune in or go because it's going to be the worst thing you've ever seen. But there's something to be said about Urban Meyer. I made this guarantee in the beginning of the year that he would not make it past this season. He is not going to make it past the season. I don't care what their owner says or what they say right now. That is all owner and corporate speak. You have to say that. You're like, oh, we believe in this guy. It's our boy. That's Urban. They made a mistake. This guy, this clown, can't coach at the NFL level. He is a clown because you know what? Now there's like, it's like high school over there. Like, did you hear this guy leak this? Did you hear this guy?
He would get fired and never get a job again if it was high school because you can't talk like that to people, like colleagues in high school. NFL is a little bit different. You can get away with talking shit. But did you hear what actually happened? Did you read the report?
Yeah.
Like he had them pretty much defend their resumes to him. It's like I don't know. Didn't you fucking hire him, dude?
Yeah, right. So I'm sorry. Did we forget that going on an interview, you bring your resume?
Yeah.
Like he looked at the resume of all these guys and said, yep, that's my guy. That's my guy. That's my guy. Now you're making these guys defend it? Like, no, bro, you chose the wrong staff and you chose the wrong line of work. You're a successful college coach. It doesn't mean it's going to translate. The fact that you're there, you ruin this franchise. You ruin them. And they were like, I'm not saying they were successful, but I'm saying that the Jaguars had a feel to them where you didn't hate them. You hate the Jaguars now because of Urban Meyer.
I find it weird that Tim Tebow likes Urban Meyer. Like I find
very
that calls into Tim Tebow's character.
Very weird
question.
Very
honestly,
weird
because Tim Tebow's this saint of a man, but he's like best buddies with Urban Meyer, who's the biggest scumbag in sports.
Go bring him to your next job in college because you're not going to be coaching the pros after this ever again. You can't handle the media. You can't handle anything. You can't even. This is where it drove me, bro. Mike Vrabel's a high energy guy, right? And he wins the game. It's 20-0. What are you supposed to do as soon as this game is over? You go to the midfield stripe and you shake the hand of the coach. You say, good luck, great game. We'll see you down the road, right? This guy didn't even lock eyes with Mike Vrabel. He basically shoved him away and went off to the side. Why? Because you're a bitch, Urban. You're a bitch. That's straight up. That is bitch made stuff. That this guy fires me up, bro, because not only that, now we know Scoop, my friend Jess, there are Jaguar fans out there. My friend Heather down in Jacksonville. There are people out there that support this team. You can't get behind this team when your coach is a douchebag. An absolute dude. I'm not talking about not being able to coach. I'm talking about just being not a good person. Not a good person.
Yeah, I've not liked Urban Meyer. This is par for the course as far as I'm concerned. It's happening a little bit later than I expected it to.
I have a headache now.
Yeah, but my advice to you, Dave, is don't let anything to do with the Jacksonville Jaguars get you this worked up ever again.
You know what it is?
Not good for your long-term health.
Because I care about their fan base.
I find comedy in this.
That's why.
I don't care about their fan base at all. I find comedy in this. I do care about Scoop, loosely. We'll say me and Scoop do have a fight lined up. I'm pretty sure, rough and rowdy. Or is that Scoop and Kyle?
Either way.
Let's just I'm going to fit something. But
put it on the docket.
I'm curious to know how their weight is going right now because they are fighting at 165 or something like that. So
Scoop says I need to soak in the Jaguars pool. That's what I'm saying, man. All this money invested into this team, they try to do something to get you to go to the game, and then you hire the worst of the worst, bro. This guy is such a piece of garbage, and it's like he's not, and he's owning up to his garbageness. I know that's not even a word, but he's owning up to it in the media. When he's starting to talk about like just barking orders at the people that are doing their jobs, bro. Oh, I can't wait.
So the Titans covered, and Dave picked the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I did pick the Jaguars in this game.
That's embarrassing.
Like an idiot.
But we
never picked the Jaguars.
There's nothing to talk about in this game. The Jaguars are shit. Trevor Lawrence is throwing the ball to the other team more often than he throws it to his own. And
who's a better quarterback, Trevor Wilson? Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson?
They're both the same thing to me right now.
They're both equally on shit.
Yeah, they're both. Good. I'll tell you who's the better quarterback. Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. Who? Anyway, nobody gets that.
I do. Come on.
Of course. All my rap.
Because it's James Jones, first of all. James Jones.
It's Mike Jones.
Yeah, but I did that for a good half a decade every time James Jones caught the ball. So
Kyle coming in about that. It's not about the weight. So I have this lingering turf toe situation currently listed as questionable for the scoop sauce fight. Whew. All right. He's week to week. So now we're gonna get more injury reports. We'll get our Adam Schefter, whoever that decides to be, to get a word with you. Moving on. Another starching. I don't want to talk too bad about this because it is Dina's squad.
This is all you need to say about this game. The Raiders had no business having a little team meeting on the 50-yard line against a team that hasn't lost in a month and a half.
You're dumb.
You done did it.
Dumb. Like
I don't mind what you say in the week. I don't mind what you say. All the locker room talk. You could guarantee a victory all you want because honestly, at the end of the day, when you go out there, when you drop a ball, you're not like, I should have caught that because they talk. It just doesn't happen like that. But to light the fire right before kickoff is just really dumb.
Silly
against a team that you're clearly not as good as.
And now the Raiders season is over. With that loss, you're under 500 at this point. It's over.
They don't have that tie that could save them.
No more wild card. That doesn't. That's as aspirations are done. But flipping the side, the Chiefs look unbeatable again. You know what I mean? To the point where this is exactly where they had needed to get hot. Keep in mind, the people started writing off the Chiefs, bro. Like they haven't lost in a month.
Their defense is now clearly elite. All of a sudden, I just don't get that.
I don't understand that either.
They
just turned it up. Shout out to Spagnuolo.
It was the Giants game that they got right in, and they really haven't looked bad since. So you could make the case that early in that run that there was some bad teams, and then they had the Jordan Love. But right now, it's like when you have 2 months of football that as a body of work, it's like, no, they're the real deal. That defense is really good.
Somebody chiming in a little late. F. Mac Jones, captain checkdown, hasn't made an important throw yet. That had to be a Jet fan.
I don't care.
These poor Jets fans are just so angry.
Captain Checkdown is definitely minus 400 for the rookie of the year right now.
So. Yeah, so Captain Checkdown's doing something right because he's about to do that. But anyway, so the Chiefs dominate again. We wrap up the slate with a game that didn't matter. I guess the Falcons put themselves in a position to be in the 6 and 7 team jumble. They're in that. The Carolina Panthers, as you were alluding to before, Cam Newton. He's back to the bench because he sucks. Like, this guy is awful. He's awful. Can't throw, can't even run over his own 2 feet. Like, he is just, I can't believe he actually did what he did that first game back, like yelling, announcing, like, hear me roar. This is my time now. It's my second go around. I'm Superman again. You super suck, bro. There's no chance that this guy
Cam
starts
Newton,
in the league
honestly,
next year
he's must see TV for me. I won't not watch a Cam Newton game because it's so hysterical to me to see him score a 1-yard touchdown run that they literally designed for him to not be touched on. He scores a touchdown and he makes it completely all about him with his celebration. And I understand, like, everybody looks for their moment, but it's Cam. You've had plenty of moments. At this point, you need to put your head down and do your job because the next play, you stumble over your own feet, you fumble, you throw a bad pick 6. And then after all those failures, then you'll run the ball for a 5-yard first down and do the same thing that you did when you scored a touchdown. It's like, bro, no.
Ready for the
I'm a teammate. I'm not liking Cam.
Ready for the next t-shirt idea? He cannot play quarterback. There you go. That's official. Kyle Kerbs nailed it. Put it on kylekerbs.com. Get us royalties, or you actually came up with the idea, so it's yours. But yeah, dude, he's terrible. The Carolina Panthers are now in need of a quarterback. You've officially moved on from Sam Darnold. You've now officially move on from Cam Newton. Poor Sam.
Bro,
Darnold,
I actually LOL. You know how you guys always say that I don't actually laugh at anything? I just give like a half smile, and that's how you know that you're making, it's funny. Mm-hmm. I laughed out loud. I actually LOL'd 3 times watching Cam yesterday. I just can't help it. Ashley said to me, she's like, "Did you just laugh? I've never heard you laugh." I was like, well,
never heard you laugh.
I do laugh from time to time, but that version of the laugh where it was like, it was
cackling.
Just like, it was so, I appreciated what I was watching so much. It just it warmed my heart.
All right. Well, there's one more game to play, Gooch, and we went even yesterday, so I don't know if we're going in opposite directions here, but the Arizona Cardinals are going to Hollywood to play the Los Angeles Rams tonight. The Rams 9-4. 8-4 going into this one. Cardinals.
Are you sure this game is in?
I don't know. I just go by what your graphic says. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Rams went into Arizona last time. I could be absolutely mistaken. But
no, it's in Arizona this game.
Oh, all right. So you flipping made easy that one. So anyway, this one's in Tempe, Arizona. In Arizona, they're 2.5-point favorites. The Cardinals coming in 10-2 right now on top of the NFC. Gooch, I'm going to throw it to you first. Where do you see this one? I mean, obviously your rooting interest is for the Rams to win this game and the Packers go back up to the 1 seed. However, do you think that the Rams have shown enough within the last month? They've been struggling. They beat a couple teams here and there, but like they're not the team of old. And we're all sitting here waiting for the Cardinals to fold. And I don't know if that's going to happen.
This game is very, very fishy to me for a couple of reasons. One, you're right. I do want the Rams to win, right? So it's hard for me to bet Arizona in this one, even though I don't know. I'm going to probably talk myself off of it, but I'm back and forth. I look at this game and it's 2.5. The Rams haven't shown me anything whatsoever, but for some reason still get the love when it comes to the point spreads. I don't know if it's just the public is heavy on the Rams and the bookies know that, or the books know that, but I don't know, man. 2.5 at home, the way the Rams have been playing and the Cardinals have been playing, I think this point spread should be higher. And for that reason, it makes me lean towards picking the Rams. In this one, I'm going to pick the Rams just because I'm not betting on it. But if I do bet, it's probably going to be on the Cardinals because I'm going to pussy out. But I just think that the point spread is weird. I think it should be higher. I think that they're trying to convince you to take the Cardinals. So
this is very reminiscent of what just happened. I mean, the Cardinals are home, but I feel like this is the Niners-Bengals game all over again with the spread 2.5, like very close. I mean, the Niners were favored on the road, but the Cardinals are now 2.5 favorites at home. The way I see this one is that if you're a prop guy, go over to talk to the prop beaver on Twitter. I'm sure he'll put this in his big props for the night, but I'm going to throw this one out. James Conner, anytime touchdown. Guy scores once a week, no matter what.
Yeah, but the odds on that are probably shit because of that.
Stack it with something else. Parlay that bitch. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do. James Conner gets in the end zone. I think that Kyler Murray, now one more week healthier, will give the Los Angeles Rams fits. I really, truly believe that. I've been waiting for this collapse to happen. It hasn't happened yet, and I don't think it will happen. At least this week, the Rams haven't shown me enough to convince me that they're going to go into Arizona and win this game. Give me the Cardinals minus the 2.5 at home. This will make or break our week as far as like who had the better week because we're lockstep right now.
I want to clarify something with what Kyle's saying.
What?
Well, he's just quoting me. I'm picking the Rams if I don't bet it. Like I'm picking the Rams here. But because like I need more time, I'm probably not going to bet the Rams tonight. I'll just leave it alone altogether. And if I do bet, I think that I'm going to pussy out and I'll bet Arizona because that's the easier bet. But I probably will just take the over or sit this one out.
Kyle, now that you're tuning in and tuned in the whole time, which I thank you for that as well. But is there a video up on this game? Because if there is, I do know that the Sauce has a nice little winning streak going on with video picks. So like every time his face pops up on YouTube, he's winning the game because he's breaking it down. And, he talks a lot with his hands. He's very Italian. Is he Italian? Yes, he's very Italian. He talks with his hands. I just do the same thing. He's like, pa, 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 and he's just whatever. Great videos, great content. Go over, check out the Sauce Network. But I believe there's probably going to be a pick within the video. I would assume. I don't know. It's no videos? No. Oh, no? Okay, well, we'll see. No video for this one, though, he's saying. But yes, 10 straight videos on Kyle Kerms' Sauce Network have hit. So get on that as well. And I don't know where this is coming in. Paulman, he's just another one. I can't, whatever. Anyway, this has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. We want to thank you guys for joining us here every day, Monday through Friday. Get live at 11 o'clock. I don't know if that ever changes, but we do seem to have a nice little influx of listeners and watchers and viewers. Guys, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. We had a big influx over the weekend. We want to thank Kyle Kerms, of course, for that one. And, of course, Kyle, we'll talk to you after this, but chances are we're going to need your ass to be here on Fridays, not Wednesdays. Football Fridays, the lean Fridays, or where it's at. And I think that's something special. We've had over almost 500 views on Friday's video, which is just crazy to me. But thank you guys for watching. For Sturch and Gooch, and of course, everybody in studio right now. This has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily live at the Flipping Made Easy studio. We will see you guys tomorrow to break down all things Monday Night Football.
And I'm on my way to being 34. If you know.